The Danube Basin drains the largest wetland on the European continent. Along its course, the Danube receives over 300 tributaries, some of which are actual rivers like the 940-kilometer-long Sava. Lonjsko Polje Park is located in Croatia on the alluvial plain of this river, with an area of 506 kilometers squared. It is the largest wetland in the Danube Basin. It is also one of the most endangered in the world, even though it has been protected by the Ramsar Convention since 1971. Inside the Lonjsko Polje Nature Park, along an arm of the Sava, lies the village of Čigoč. The emblem of the village deserves to be updated, because every last Saturday in June, a cultural and culinary festival is organized. Named in 1994 as the first European village of the storks, celebrating the preservation of the natural heritage in all its diversity, Čigoč welcomes Gabriel Schwader as General Manager of EuroNatur for the 20th anniversary of this award. He pointed out that the EuroNatur Foundation was created in 1987 by various German institutions to support conservation projects. He also evokes the memory of Martin Schneider-Jacoky, who, starting from 1989 until his death, worked as project manager for this foundation. Through his actions, he has contributed to the conservation of nature in the Balkans and to the protection of migratory birds in their natural habitat. Lonjsko Polje Park and the village of Čigoč have been brought to light by his activity. Today, EuroNatur's objective is to protect the fauna and preserve the marvelous natural and cultural landscapes. The Foundation's approach is based on the need to increase people's awareness of nature so that the protection of wildlife and its habitat in Europe can take root permanently. Central Croatia is still deeply rooted in tradition. Folkloric festivals are very animated. These are not shows put on for the sake of tourists, but rather celebrations specific to the region, where the old and the young participate and mingle. Let's quietly leave the festival to visit the Lonjsko Polje Reserve, not by bike, but on foot.
In Čigoč we have trails for walking.
According to one of the park's managers, it is necessary to go to the reserve lookout spots, because they are located just behind the village. From the information center, the path forms a 5-kilometer loop. The distances are short because the village is enclosed in the reserve.
House, you must go again right. You can use these trails for walking. It's long 2 kilometers. In these trails, is long. After dike, you enter in retention. This trails is long maybe 1 kilometer.
Okay.
You see many species.
Oh, here.
Yeah, yeah.
The buffalo.
It's not buffalo, but no, it's domestic species of cattle. It's very strong. It's very nice, and the park have about 100 these cattle in Croatian.
The 12,000 hectares of pastures are used by cattle belonging to the farmers of the region. The richness of the land is mainly due to the many floods that can raise the water level by 10 meters.
You said 10 meters? So how do the inhabitants cope? They have to take a lot of risks.
There's always the risk of being flooded. People live on the first floor and they'll leave the ground floor for keeping the tools and maybe for the chicken coops.
So they completely dismantle the house.
We dismantle the house and rebuild it elsewhere.
A little further.
A little further on dry land. This last year there was no flood thanks to the dams. There is a dam along the Sava river in front of us. And behind the fields, there is a second one that protects the village.
The village is then located between two dams.
It's a sort of triangle.
The hydrology of the region is very complex. 4 rivers meet in the alluvial zone, which is full of a multitude of treasures of biodiversity. This reserve is widely known due to the diversity of its ecosystems. Nowadays, televisions from all over Europe come here to give an account of the activity carried out by the natural scientists of the Zagreb Zoo. By placing rings and GPS devices, they actively participate in the protection of the storks and in their survival. These reports are intended to make viewers aware of the biodiversity and species in this region of Europe, such as the white-tailed eagle, the lesser spotted eagle, the western marsh harrier, the great egret, the black stork, and many others. It would take too much time to explore the reserve, which hosts many other wild animals, such as wild boar, stag, otter, deer, or even domesticated ones, such as the pig, the Croatian horse, so many creatures typical of this region.
If you had to define Čigoč in a few words, what would you say?
The origin of the word Čigoč is not known. Does it come from Latin and means stork? Or maybe from Čigoč, which comes from the name of a fish that is almost extinct, but somehow still exists. The information office staff will tell you the same.
Čigoč is a synthesis of Croatian countryside, a village united to its land, which the inhabitants strive to preserve. Over the years, this nature park has emerged as a very authentic setting for observation for ornithologists and for lovers of fauna and flora in search of new discoveries.